Welcome back, video creeps. What up, you guys?
What up? Welcome to my channel, Video Creep. Make sure you hit subscribe.
We're going to go over this one time and one time only.
Hey everybody, have you heard the news? Joe Bob is back in town. Joe Bob is back in town. Joe Bob is back in town.
Hello, internet fans. Do you want to learn about horror movies that you never knew existed? Do you miss the video store but not the late fees? Then join us at 3B Video, where we talk about stuff like this. And this. And this. If you'll excuse me, I've got some videotapes to return. You like Huey Lewis in the news?
Oh, the romantic music. Oh, yeah. Oh, see?
Yeah, and she's like,
there?
ew. Watch, here we go. 4, 5. Maybe she was reaching towards the wolf knuckle. She's like, how could you not? Look at it. Sorry, guy.
Not like fastest creature on 2 feet.
None of this kind of stuff.
Thank you for watching Terribly Awful. I'm Craig Rosenthal, and guys,
We're not doing it.
you chose it. You close it.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Friday Night Showcase. I am, of course, your host, Mick Manhattan, the scene snob, and it's another Friday night. I'm feeling good. It's October. I've watched a lot of horror movies so far. I wouldn't say all of them bad, but I definitely have watched some terrible stuff, but not like my guests tonight. The hosts of the awesome, Terribly Awful YouTube channel. Make sure you're going and you're subscribing to this channel, because if you're not doing it, you're doing yourself a disservice. They do a really fun thing. They watch movies and I want to say they mock them, but they do, and it's a lot of fun. They're very funny guys. They're wonderful guys. So the Key 13 Film Partners. They're our friends on the show. Matt has been on the show quite a bit. Craig has been on the show. So I'm having them on tonight, and we're going to talk about season 3 of Terribly Awful. So join in. Make sure after you watch the show, go watch the first episode of season 3, which is up now over on YouTube. That was the trailer I just showed. I, of course, was a guest this season. I was very honored to be a guest. I hope I did them justice and was funny in the episode. but whether or not, it was a very cool experience, and I just enjoyed being there. So, without further ado, I want to invite my guests on, Mr. Matt Anderson, Mr. Craig Rosenthal. How are you guys? Here we go. Bring it on. That might be the peppiest introduction I've ever done.
Hey, all right.
And that's all due to Dunkin' Donuts coffee, who pays me nothing.
Yeah. Craig?
But how are you tonight, gentlemen?
I'm great, but Craig's looks like he's in a very, very dark mood right now. There he is.
In a very dark mood, eh?
Tell us about your dark mood.
He was while he was thinking about it.
Gentlemen,
goodness.
I love the Return of the Living Dead shirt, by the way. And I love the tie, of course. Matt, you are always a dapper Dan whenever you come on the show. And I love it, of course. But I don't own enough cool T-shirts because they don't make them in size circus tent. So when I see other people wearing cool T-shirts, I gotta say something.
That's where you just need to just make your own. Get on one of those T-shirt sites and just make your own. I mean, I've honestly thought about doing it for like my photography business. Having just pictures that I've taken on my shirts and walking around in that. But then I'm just kind of like, that might be a little weird. So I'll stick with this not button up's nice. But, do it, just put video covers of all your favorite movies on the shirts, or you could go to like one of those creepy stalker company that makes those creepy stalker shirts where you can put the face of the person you're stalking all over it and walk around letting people know you're a stalker. I mean, that's an option too, I suppose.
Well, I think that the best case, if you want your shirts to be really successful, is start taking wildlife pictures of wolves in the wilderness with full moons behind them and trees, and then Walmart will buy them up real fast.
So true.
Yeah, but then again, I'm not very fashion orientated. I have one look; it works for me. Although I am starting to transition to Hawaiian shirts, so that'll work
because they look so good on you.
They do, and the fact that I'm a big guy, they kind of give me a nice, more of a jovial personality. It's either that or Santa Claus suits, and I just don't do the fringe.
You got to bring the color out, and I think Hawaiian shirts are a good idea. But here's where you have to decide: where do you want the Hawaiian shirts? Do you want the Hawaiian shirts to be a fashion statement all the time, or do you want it to be a seasonal thing? Like Matt's loosening the tie; it's Hawaiian shirt season.
It probably would be seasonal simply because most Hawaiian shirts are short sleeve, and in Maryland winters, it is wearing a short sleeve shirt is not an enjoyable experience in come December, January timeframe. When we were out filming a hoodie, it was 20 below.
Oh man, that was brutal. We were so bundled up that night, and even it was like 16, 15 degrees out, and still I could feel frostbite setting in.
Yeah. I mean, we took breaks not because people were having issues with their lines or anything, but because we were so damn cold that we'd have to go in and warm up for like about a half an hour and then go back out, just so that we can film it. And of course, the actors, Tom Toohey and Bob Singer, they didn't breathe. They had to hold their breath so that there wasn't breath in the car because they were supposed to be inside a running car with the heat on. But of course, we couldn't do that because the sound of the engine would have completely masked anything that they were saying. So, credit to those guys. They managed to do it while the rest of us are out there, chattering away, trying so hard not to let our teeth chatter so that the mic doesn't pick it up. So it's Hawaiian shirts in winter. Nah, because I was bundled up well. I had a nice big old parka thing and I was still cold as heck.
Well, I do agree, and I think the Hawaiian shirts on your show, which was a great choice to start doing to keep yourself warm, Maybe not during the summer, but it's still a fun show to do. But Terribly Awful season 3 is upon us, and I want to. I was so blessed to come down and be a part of the season, and but I want everybody. I want you guys to talk about it a little bit. I want to know the concept of it, where it came from. How it's just everything. Give me the origin story, really.
Well, Craig down there, he'll start it off.
Well, goodness. It started off in 2018, and it was honestly an idea I had been throwing around for a number of years because I own upwards of about 3,000 movies. Now, 50% of those movies are great films. The other 50% are complete garbage. And I read up on reviews. I like reading reviews, and I got tired of reading reviews about people talking about movies they consider to be the worst films ever made. And these are movies that I've seen before. I'm thinking, what, you guys are nuts. You've never seen the likes of the Corpse Grinders Part 2 or Axum or Oasis of the Zombies, and so I decided to sit down one day and record an episode. The very first episode was for a show called for a movie called Axum, and it was kind of haphazardly put together. Is a not one of my greatest moments, but its origin specifically started with the film Axum, and I still consider Axum to be one of the absolute worst films ever made. And I try to teach people this. I want people to see this movie because of how bad it is. But Axum, Corpse Grinders 2, and Oasis of the Zombies was the original origin of this series.
Nice. Well, and those are titles I've never heard of, so I know that's probably got to be the case here. Real quick, we have some friends upon us. Mrs. Lori Habermail, who is, of course, my co-host on the Behind the Box podcast, and she was a special guest on the this season of Terribly Awful as well. And she says, "Woo woo, she is here." But then you're getting cursed out by Tom. 19 degrees, you bastards.
Okay,
Yeah,
remember.
Yeah, you were there. And yes, Lori, along with you, were guest stars on this season, and the episodes are going to be absolutely hilarious. We've already got Craig's actually editing the your episode. I don't know if he's finished with it yet, but it'll be ready here soon. And then we just keep running for the next 11 weeks or 10 weeks now at this point, since we've already aired the first episode. Going back to the origin story, so Craig did the first season, and he invited me on for a couple episodes. And we were actually doing a show for the Bloody Asylum, our friend Carl Franks' Facebook page. And we really did well with that show and with the special guest. And so season 2, Craig graciously asked me to join him for season 2, and we started making some changes. And because as much fun as it is watching Craig sit there and completely eat his hat. It needed something else, and
someone who actually knows how to verbalize what they're saying.
And then he at first I was a little violent towards him. I hit him with a hammer a lot. But I'm generally not a violent person, so it was very. Jesse L. Green, another one of our guest hosts. He just responded. He had a lot of fun with that one. But anyways, so Craig invited me on to season 2, and we made some changes, and then season 3 is very different from season 2 as well. We're up in our game every year. We try to make it a little bit better, a little bit more interesting, a little bit different, but still the same old us suffering through some of the worst movies ever made. And you actually there are several episodes where you actually see us mentally break down, where we're actually just, we can't think or function. The Vulture's Eye, which was our most popular episode last year, just absolutely, I mean, you actually watch us just completely mentally disintegrate with every single scene. And I mean, who'd ever thought that you'd ever see a movie where a vampire pees on somebody? But we did. And I think from that point on, that was pretty much it. I don't think we've ever truly recovered. And then some of the movies we're watching this season are just going to take us further down that deep, dark hole.
It always surprises me that we are able to find films that are actually worse than the films we've already covered. I mean, it really baffles me how we sit down and every time we're just like, oh man, it can't get any worse than this. And then the following week it does.
Well, I got to ask because the movie we watched, and I'm not going to give anything away, I promise. But the movie we watched, I could see how you can find a movie like that, just for the star alone. I don't doubt that I've probably seen scenes from it when I was a kid, but I just had no idea what the movie was. Well, not a kid, a teenager maybe. But I just have to. How do you find these things? Where do you search for these movies?
I go out of my way.
Yeah, really.
I do. I'm a part of a bunch of different Facebook groups, and I always am looking for movies that just are awful, and I will literally pay money, sometimes good money, for the worst films ever made. And I sometimes there's been several movies I bought specifically because I wanted to cover them just for this show, because I knew they were going to be complete garbage. And Matt will sometimes watch something on Amazon Prime and he'll be like, "Oh, Craig, you gotta get this. This is just complete garbage." And so I'm immediately like, "Oh, I'll throw down my money for that."
Hey, I see my buddy Mr. Gray there in the background.
Oh, yep, he's just chilling with me.
He's the fourth guest, or the fourth member of the team. There's myself, Craig, Carly, who's our PA, and then Mr. Gray, who had a very special part in which episode was it again?
They Must Eat.
They Must Eat. Yes. He interjected his own opinions for it. And actually, as Craig was saying, the first movie that we watched, which was Who Killed Captain Alex, which is self-described as the best movie in the world, and it really is. It's absolutely just a joy to watch. We are pointing out a few of the issues with it. Guns that were made out of sticks and bullets that were made out of little sticks and lots of mud and poo. But it's still just an enjoyable movie. And I found that one through YouTube. And then I found it on Amazon Prime. And, it took a Herculean effort not to watch Who Killed Captain Alex on Amazon Prime. Yes, we actually watched both movies on that blue DVD and the Blu-ray.
Yeah, the discs are actually labeled. Let's see. Da Blu-ray, da DVD.
And it is the best movie in the world. And so I found that one. The one that's another episode that we have is one I found on Amazon Prime. The one that's showing next week is from his collection. It just and actually the two of the movies for this year and four of the movies from last year were actually from a DVD box set that I bought back in the 90s.
Was that
or the early 2000s?
Was that Mill Creek that released those back in the day?
No, Brentwood.
Brentwood. Okay, Brentwood.
Brentwood.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it was before I left for Japan. So yeah, it was this one called Hard. What was it? Hard to Kill or something like that, and another one called Vamps. And I bought these. You know, they were $10 4 DVD sets. And I mean,
These movies.
we've gone through three. We've gone through 6 of the 8 movies. So next year will be the last year that we'll be doing that. But the good news is the person who made They Must Eat did 4 other films. So poor
That's gonna
Tommy
be exciting.
she's going to pick up the slack for us next year.
And They Must Eat happened to be one of his most hated movies of last season. I've seen way worse than that, but Matt actually got butt cramps watching that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a painful experience.
I think 2 things need to happen for season 4, is for sure. One, you need to upgrade Carly from PA to Gaffer. And then we also she needs the pay bump because she does a lot of work. And then we need to, how about getting some fun local filmmakers on with you and maybe doing some of theirs as specials?
Well, we actually, this year we did have some of our local folks. Tom Dewey is one.
Yep.
Of course, director Mark Byrne, who's been on the Scene Snobs before. Writer and director Moni Para, who's doing KOA, Killed on Arrival right now. Matt Burns, who's producer and actor extraordinaire. I think he would be a producer at large because he's got his hands in just about everything. Of course, Jesse Green, well-known local actor. You and Lori from the Scene Snobs. Colleen Tidd, who's a screenwriter for The Asylum. Am I forgetting anybody? I really hate it when I forget people.
No, you did a great job. We have a really cool community here. Just as you're rattling off, I've had them on my shows, you have them on your shows, and they're just so much fun. I haven't had Tom on. I have to get Tom on for sure because he says, "Wish I would have known. I'd have sold radioactive flesh-eating foliage." That's a real thing. That's a real thing, people. That's a real thing. Autographed. That's a real thing too. Craig, for $500 instead of loaning it.
You would actually be surprised. There's somebody on eBay that's selling a bootleg of that movie for like hundreds of bucks, and I'm like, why?
There are nuts out there like me that will pay money for that.
Yeah, but I mean, hell, I love collecting laser discs, and my limit's $50. I will never pay more than $50 for a laser disc, and which is a shame because there are some laser discs that I have been sorely tempted to go past that, but I just can't do it because $50. Once you hit over $50, even for a collector, for me, it's just there's other things I need to get, and I have to make the hard choices.
Well, I for sure, I want you guys to check out, if I can find it for you. I think I might have found it. I was looking it up. The movie we were talking about that I worked on, the Zombies movie. I just need you to check this out and tell me if it's worthy enough to be
I'll
on the show.
I'll add it to the list. I keep anytime somebody suggests a movie, I add it to a running tally that I have. So zombies. I will
Zombies, and then the subtitle was Zombies versus Strippers.
Strippers versus Zombies.
Strippers versus Zombies.
See, they had to put the strippers next because they've already gotten their zombies out of the way.
True.
Just to make sure. And the reason it's so special to me is that was one of the first movies I worked on when I went into film school, and I'm actually in it.
Oh,
I still need to look it up because I still think I may have seen that when if it was on Amazon Prime. I'm fairly certain that I'd seen it at some point or another because I remember watching a movie that fit that description that was really, really low end.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, low ends are stock in trade.
It was fairly low end. Hey, but the lighting looked good. I worked lighting on it, so I mean, I know the lighting worked good.
Hey, I mean, I watched this Michael Nin film, which actually had narration from one of the stars in it and the lighting guy, and I'm like, the lighting guy? Well, you know, and I honestly, I think he was like really, he may have been the director for all I know, but he's the lighting guy. And he's just talking about, you know, all the behind the scenes stuff, and I'm like, wow, you're probably the most observant lighting guy I've ever heard, and you're the only lighting guy I've ever heard on a commentary. Of course, it has to be on a Michael Nin film. So you know,
You guys, yeah, I love your reach, and Tom, of course, we're gonna get you on the show. I promise, I will get you booked soon. But you guys, like, I'm telling you, these movies, because Terribly Awful has introduced me to a lot of movies I never could have fathomed existed, and to question the psychosis of many filmmakers out there that exist. Like, where did you get this? Where'd you get this concept, people? But I love it.
I think the bigger question usually in these movies is where did they find the people who produced it? Is always seems to be my big question. Is somebody would actually sit down, read the script to a movie like the ones that we've watched, like Vulture's Eye or Death Run to Istanbul, or sit down and actually read the script and go, yeah, I believe in this project. I'm going to help you get it made.
I will say this. You know, you guys know I used to be a producer, and I'd made probably the worst short film of all time, and it will never see the light of day. So, and it has a special features. It's a DVD with the special features that is longer than the movie. That's how terribly pretentious we were. So, and this is film school. This is how it is. But being so young and getting into producing, and I wrote and I produced this. I didn't direct it, but you don't see how bad it is on set. You never do until you see it for the first time. And you're just like, yeah, those rose tinted glasses were blinders. It turns out, like, you watch this thing and you're like, how did I make this thing?
I don't know. Being on set on several of the movies that I've worked on, I had my gut feeling told me that they were going to be pretty much stinkers.
Yeah, I mean, we've all three of us and many of our friends, Tom and Jesse and I don't know if Mark ever worked on a film, but you know, we've all been on some of the we've worked on films, so we just know from the first sentence of the script, the movie is just not going to be any good, but we still take the job because we still love doing it. But it's one of those, again, it's one of those things. It's like, how did this get past the approval stage? How did the production company or whoever just take the script, read it, and go, yeah, that's good. Let's do it. And you know, I know you said, we just, okay, it's film school. You know, that's what you go to film school to learn how to be pretentious.
Yeah.
But you know, there's, like I said, there are some movies. Matter of fact, we showed you one while we were on a break for watching the episode that you did, and I mean, you saw that one, and that one's like, gah. So you know, you sit there and you wonder. I honestly thought that this was producible or makeable. And
yeah,
then,
I don't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, the one you did show me was real Grootgoo-esque. Grootgoo or something like that. I learned my spelling off in the back alley.
Yeah. The spelling was just one of the things. But again,
One of the things.
it's just some movies like Death Run to Istanbul. I know I keep going back to that, but really, it is the epitome of just garbage cinema. I mean, it was, at least on this one, it actually stayed with the same camera. Some of the other movies we've watched, you can actually see different cameras that are used because the aspect ratio keeps shifting and the colors keep shifting and lighting, even in scenes that are supposed to be at the same time, it's two different cameras, you can tell. And so you're watching these and you're just like, how, why? And Death Run to Istanbul, who actually honestly thought that this was going to, you can't get to Turkey from California, take the Panama Canal. But the way he's talking, it's like this little scooter, and why are you sending drugs to Istanbul? Drugs come from Istanbul. There's a reason why it's there's drugs come out of there and into here. I would have believed it more Death Run to Albert, Istanbul.
Well, I do not. I never want to see that movie, but I will watch the Terribly Awful episode. I'm gonna go back and watch that one. I will say this though, the experience. I want to talk about the experience a little bit of like just being there and doing it. And you guys get to do it, weekly when you're recording. I was so excited to do it because Mystery Science Theater 3000 was one of my favorite shows in the world growing up, and it's very similar in tone and kind of format rather. And I'm glad you're continuing it because I think more of this needs to happen. You need to have that mocking, hanging out with your friends, watching a terrible movie feel. It's nostalgic. It's beautiful, and I felt that when I was there.
And one of the main points of the show is basically what you just described there, Mick. It's watching a bad movie with your friends and suffering through it and laughing throughout the entire experience. And that's pretty much what I want to project when every episode is aired. I want people to watch it and to laugh with us. It's meant as it's comedy. at the expense of bad movies, but it's comedy regardless. And that's really one of the things I really wanted to get across with this was just to get people to laugh with us, at us even. We really do suffer through some of these movies. That is legit. We're not faking that. These movies suck.
Right. And it's even gotten to the point where we're actually getting people who are involved in movies to actually ask us to review them. We got an actor from one movie. He's just like, yeah, man, here, I starred in one of the worst movies ever. And Craig actually watched it and said it wasn't that bad. I've
seen way worse.
Yeah, I probably have too. And then another one, the director, I'll never forget him. He was a great sport. He simply wrote in it, he just said, look, if you don't like it, you won't hurt my feelings. And I'm just like, okay, fine. And as it turns out, I didn't like it at all.
And not only did it turn into a written review, but it potentially could become an episode.
I'd like to see that.
Very well be. It could be.
You should invite him on the show.
Unfortunately, he's out in Cali. So the director's out in California. So our budget isn't big enough. We don't have sponsors yet. Hopefully one day, maybe after the season, that we'll actually get some sponsors because it's not exactly, it doesn't cost us $1 million an episode, but it certainly, a few bucks here and there would definitely be helpful to kind of improve some things. Maybe buy a couple extra lights. Get the PA upgraded to a gaffer. Get Carly, that pay bump you were talking about earlier. Stuff like that.
I'm telling you now, like that's what needs to happen. You got to make her gaffer Carly. I mean, she deserves the raise.
Aw, I'll have to let her know. She is actually out filming a short film tonight, actually. So she potentially would have joined me otherwise.
Yeah, I was wondering where Carly was, but that's all right. That's all right. She got to work on those films too, just like we do over at Key 13 Film Partners.
That's for damn sure. You guys got to keep those films coming, and you guys are doing great, man. And I love this idea. I had so much fun this past Sunday when we recorded my episode, getting into it and realizing what we're watching.
What a disappointment that movie was. I was so not prepared for the terribleness. I thought that, Craig and I both agree, and I don't know if you've seen it, Heavy Metal 2000, the animated sequel to Heavy Metal. We thought that was bad, but that was light years better than the movie that we watched. Light years better.
Yeah. What we watched, let's just say this, and I will not give anything away. It does not have, it did not have at the time, a costumer. That's for damn sure. That's all I'll say about that.
Or any kind of decent fight sequences.
Or any
Robots of the future.
No, there was the one dude that you said was in the Jet Li movie.
Oh yeah. His like 2.5-minute fight sequence. It was way cooler in Hitman because he had the lasers in his shoe and on his rings. He had the laser rings that you just flash, and then they get blinded. And then Jet Li, he blinded Jet. Jet Li still kicked his ass.
Of course he did.
I like that the movie was so bad that we had to talk about other movies that we should watch to kind of cleanse our palate.
That happens a lot. We actually. It's funny in the movie that the brief little clip of a different movie that we watched that was better. For about 4 hours. Is just that just tells you how bad the movie we watched is. And I know it's tough not wanting, because we want to talk about it, because talking about it brings about catharsis. It helps you come to grips and move forward with the rest of your life, but you can't because it hasn't aired yet, and it's still got to be. It's going to be a while.
Going to be about I would say another 7 weeks or 7 to 8 weeks before that one airs. Actually, it's gonna be a good one. I'm doing the finishing touches on the episode now, and let's just say that there's a lot of this particular episode's going to have a lot of censoring in it.
It has to. There's no way it can.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And we're talking about censor bars over the movie itself that'll be behind us, not our language, because the language doesn't get censored. Although in the clip you showed, to make it sellable, because Facebook and some of the groups out there have this thing about language, harsh language. So I have to bleep it when I'm doing the commercials. But for the show, it's pure and uncut. And at some point, maybe we'll make the episodes available uncensored. But it's definitely going to require a lot of traffic. We really want to try to double our viewership. And so, that's part of the reason why we made the changes we did. We now have a bigger green screen. And instead of it being kind of pieced together where it's back and forth, you actually see us interact somewhat. It's not Mystery Science Theater. We're not bunch of shadows in front of a big old projection screen. But we really are trying to build up that viewership because really the reason why we do this is not only to save as many people as possible from the worst possible movies ever made. And occasionally we find a movie that we watch and we're like, this ain't half bad. Captain Alex is a prime example. I mean,
I loved it.
I mean,
it's complete. It's so bad, but it's one of the best bad movies of all time.
It is, and it was a movie that was never supposed to be shown outside of Uganda, and somebody discovered it, and boom! I mean, we
honestly,
were able to watch
the fact that movie was even made is amazing. It really is, considering that the movie was made for literally nothing.
I know. I mean, the man, the director, Isaac
Nabwana.
Nabwana. He actually cobbled together pieces of a computer and made the green screen. He did the green screen with no lights. He did it like outdoors. They're actually at the beginning. They actually show the green screen work. Yeah, he added in digital effects because he just didn't have the money. He couldn't even buy toy guns. He had to make guns out of pipes and sticks and lash them together and spray paint them black or paint them with really crappy black paint. And they don't fool anybody, but it's still what he did and how he utilized there are low budget filmmakers that could really learn, and he did like what one of my favorite Japanese anime called Gatchamen did. Is they knew full well that some of the physics in that show were totally bonkers, but because they kept it at a fast, quick pace, you didn't notice it. And with Captain Alex, I noticed it because I'm what I do. I'm a film critic among my other talents. But even still, as Craig said, we loved it. We absolutely enjoyed it. And starting off our first episode of Terribly Awful with a movie we actually enjoyed, even though we still point out its issues. It just shows you that you can be surprised at the kind of movies.
I will say though that this is a rarity because the following episode, not saying anything, but the following episode is going to take a major nosedive.
That episode, oh my god, I absolutely hate it. And the sad thing is the people who made it just finished up a sequel, and some of our friends are in it.
And I ordered the sequel. It's coming out this month.
I'm
not saying anything about who's in it or what the sequel is or anything, but it's coming out this month, and I can't wait.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! No. I got a feeling that one's going to show up in season 4. Bad feeling. That is if the other Key 13 projects don't bump the series and the viewership too. Again, the more viewers we get, the more likely we will do a regular season. If not, we may have to do a series of specials instead. And it's not that we don't want to, it's just that we have other things over at Key 13 Film Partners that are really pretty big. They're pretty big projects. And so it's up to Craig there if we want to share those with you now, give you the kind of exclusive.
Well, are we ready to give those exclusives?
Yeah, I think we are. I think the people that we've contacted are already involved, so everyone kind of pretty much in our circle knows about it. So I'd say sure. If
Yeah.
it's all right.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
All right. So here you go, Mick. Exclusives. All right. Because we love making bad horror films so much, watching bad horror films so much, we're making what? We're making our first horror film.
Yes. I cannot wait.
Yes, it is called Phobias. We're going to be announcing. We'll be officially putting it up on the website here soon. The script is currently in rewrites. Matt Burns is coming on board as a producer after he finishes his latest film KOA and Mark Burns's new film Brazen Impact. So we're really grateful to have Matt on board and know all the help that he's going to give us because the man he knows everybody and he pretty much, if you need it, he pretty much can find it. If he can't, he knows where to go to find it. So it's called, like I said, it's called Phobias, and we'll be announcing the casting calls around January, February timeframe. We're going to be having our first pre-production meeting next week. So it's really going to be a pretty big to do. We'll be able to start filming in late fall, and the reason why is because the other announcement is we are working on another movie ourselves. It's called, that'll be filmed before we film Phobias. It's called Serious Profession, and it is a movie about two basically thugs who go around town, and we get to spend a day with them to see all the interesting people that they meet. But it's not just a Sopranos crime drama thing. Actually, we're really trying to avoid that kind of cliche, overused plot device. It's actually it's got a little bit more. It's got more of a, and I hate comparing it to other films, a Tarantino-esque vibe where it talks about things that really aren't necessarily related to the plot. It's not all plot exposition plot. So we're going to be casting for that as well, and starting around the same time as we're doing Phobias. And so those are our two big projects. And then we are working on a short film after we finish Liar, which is currently being worked on. Once we finish Liar, then we have another short film called Paralyzed that's coming out, and it's a drama, and it's dealing with a man who was who's injured in a car accident, and him coming to grips with that, as well as coming to the grips to the friend that he left behind. And it's going to be Tom, who was popping in there a little bit earlier. Tom's going to be in it, as well as Bob Singer, and a couple of others. People are going to be coming along. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Phobias is the creature designs in Phobias, because there's going to be creatures in it. They're being designed by Jeremy Ogre Amos over at Amos FX. And he's a fantastic artist, and he and his brother Matt are excellent special effects guys. And there's a monster in there. Now that I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to spoil the monsters. But there's some monsters in there that, let's just say, on one of those monsters, it's probably going to be a perk for people who donate funds that you get to be involved with this one monster. and Craig knows what it is. So but we're not going to tell you. So you gotta keep a little magic, little suspense, a little secrecy out there. But yeah, this monster. Hey, Tom. I see Tom there. But yes. So our production slate is, now that Terribly Awful's done, we will be doing finishing Wire. We're going to be working on the first couple episodes of our Elementals comic book project.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. That's going to be
fun.
I'm looking forward to everything you just told me. And I hope you guys come on the show to promote all of it. But,
absolutely.
The Elementals I've been hearing about for a while. That's why I've had that anticipation for a bit.
Yeah, that one was we had some delays, some production delays for a lot of reasons, including production on Liar. We had some delays on that, so that kind of pushed everything along because that's our next big, our premiere project at the moment. But yeah, we are going to be working on Elementals. Matter of fact, we have a recording session at the end of the month. Once we get that done, then we will do the first test episode, see how that goes over. If it goes over well, we'll work on the rest, and or at least we'll finish up the episodes that we have. And if it doesn't quite get us the traction that we're hoping for, we'll have to reevaluate. But I honestly believe, I think it'll do well. I have a lot of hope for it. And then once Liar will be done, Elementals will be done, Paralyzed. Then we go into production on Serious Profession. And then we will, once that wraps, we'll go into production on Phobias. And then we will start pre-production on our next film, which I will not talk about yet because it's still not finished. But it's that one. And again, just we T13, we don't just make, we're not making horror films, just horror films, I should say. We're trying to, because there, as you mentioned about the talent in this area, there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of movies that go outside just slasher and horror, which there's nothing wrong with. I mean, heck, his DVD collection down there in Craig's, I guess to his left, is probably 99% horror, where my collection in the back room is 99% anime. But we're trying to make movies that are different kinds of movies, because we love all kinds of movies, not just bad movies or horror movies or sci-fi movies or anime movies. We love all movies. And it's any chance that we can do to help give everybody a chance to maybe try something a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. That's what we do. And then everybody else, Mark Byrne is working on his crime drama, Brazen Impact. I'm looking forward to it. I know Craig's looking forward to it. And it's great that he's doing, he's done his last, he did his horror comedy with Bigfoot. He did his horror film with Remnants. So, and he's done science fiction, and he's done film noir. And when we were last time when we were all on here. So, I love that Mark tries different things. There's other filmmakers out in this area, in Pennsylvania, that they're all trying something new, and they're all trying something different. And I really, Tom's leaving us. Bye, Tom.
Thanks for watching, Tom.
But there's a lot of great filmmakers out there, and there's a lot of local talent out there. So really looking forward, and hopefully that as we do our new things, it'll inspire others to do new things as well. Sorry.
No, please take a drink. You just did a lot of talking, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate the exclusive very much. I know we're getting close to the hour, and I want to bring it back Terribly Awful real quick and see. One thing I'm very interested about with the show is well, actually, before I get to that, I want to say thank you for the exclusives. I cannot wait to see these, and I want to promote them when you guys come out. So make sure you're ready for the shows. And I'm happy. I let me visit set.
Dude, you have a standing invitation to come to anything that we work on. So you just let us know when you're coming, and we'll roll out the red Solo cup for you.
Well, I appreciate that. You don't have to do anything fancy for me. I just love being on set.
Oh, well, hey, a red Solo cup is as fancy as we get.
But no, kind of bring it back to Terribly Awful. One thing that I really enjoy and I thought might be cool, and I'm wondering if you guys were planning on it in the future, maybe live shows, recording live shows. And in a sense of like maybe doing it in a movie theater or something, like if you did a private event or something.
Well, it's funny that you mention that because this is something that we have actually discussed, and we were, before COVID hit, we had been invited to participate in what was it, the North Carolina horror convention,
Right.
and we were going to actually do we were going to what I forget, it's been months now.
Yeah,
But
it was going to be essentially sort of a panel / live show where we're going to sit there and talk through the movie. But then COVID hit, and the plans that we were working on just never really quite obviously materialized because they canceled everything. And it's definitely something that we thought about, but it's just like with Psycho Cinema, is the rights to get the films. It's one thing when we're doing it on YouTube, it's covered under fair use because it's a review show. But in showing it in the theater where people actually would pay money, or at an event, even if we're not getting the money, they're still paying to go see it. So, that's the hard part with the live shows, but it's definitely something that we've thought about doing. We definitely would like to do it, but there are some logistics and financial issues that at this time, and especially now that the theaters are closing again, I don't see it happening definitely not happening this year. Probably maybe next year, but it really depends on all those exclusives I just gave you. Those are not going to be shot in 2 days and we're done.
But there are movies we actually would like to get the rights to, something like Death Run to Istanbul, just so we can we can actually release an episode with us actually just talking throughout the movie, making fun of it, or even being able to do something with that live. So some of these movies we have tried searching the rights to. We've gone to the Library of Congress, and Death Run to Istanbul is just we don't know who owns this thing. I mean,
the rabbit hole is so deep at this point. It's
Matt?
Sorry.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I had a little cough. One of the things that we found out is that when a low production company goes and they actually have films assets, those get sold off to banks and get sold off from to another bank to another bank. And the thing, though, they're owned by the bank, but the bank doesn't have the bad movie division. You go to and say, hey, and they buy these rights for $1. Okay, they pay $1 for the rights to these movies, but yet in the wonderful world of copyright law, they are theirs. So we could go in there and offer them $5. They would make $4 on the deal, but there is no bad movie division at SoftBank or Citibank or whatever bank that front shell company, whatever is called, to actually say there and go, hey, can we purchase the rights to Death Run to Istanbul, to The Vulture's Eye, to the any of these others, you know. And I mean that would be great. Now, doing a live show on YouTube, it's possible. We just had to figure out the technical on how to have the screen behind us while streaming live, but that's a possibility.
Might be able to broadcast. Well, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
You know, maybe we can get that situated. COVID version. No,
Yeah.
like how I do all of my shows since March. Have the studio and I don't use it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, trust us, you know. I mean, it is tough in this time of COVID to try to be able to do that. There's several podcasts that we want to, that unfortunately, we just couldn't get to because they were shut down just like we were for a while.
Yeah, no, I get it. I appreciate you guys coming on the show tonight and talk about Terribly Awful Season 3, which is started out, like the first episode's out now, everybody. You can go watch it. It's so much fun. If it's half as fun as it was to be there in person, then you guys have miles of enjoyment coming to you. This is how good the show is. So make sure you go check it out. Now, the movies may be bad, but the entertainment is great.
Right. And it's I want to mention it's every Wednesday. New episodes air every Wednesday at 7 a.m. They will appear on our Facebook page, which if you just type search for Terribly Awful on Facebook, you'll find it. And it's also on our YouTube page, which is also called Terribly Awful. We haven't had enough subscribers yet. Hint, hint, hint. To hit the 100 mark that we could actually give it our own personalized name. And the cats just got fed. But it will be on. They're available on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and Instagram television. On our Instagram, Terribly Awful MOV.
Oh, I follow you guys, and I'm going to put all this in the descriptions and more. So make sure you guys are out there and subscribe to the channel. Let's get those numbers up because they deserve it, because it's quality programming. Not what they're showing. Not what they're showing. Just the show. But thank you again very much to my guests, Mr. Matt Anderson, Mr. Craig Rosenthal. You guys are amazing. I cannot wait to see the projects for next year. I do still hope we get a season 4. I know it might be specials, but at least we'll have something. Season 3 is going to be fantastic. I know it. With one exception, my episode, but that's about it.
Oh no! Actually, I believe we actually said yours was one of the best. But to be honest with you, there's not a bad episode in the bunch. A couple of
as I tend to say, the worse the movie is, the better the episode is going to be.
True. Very much true. Although, I mean, really, I can't say that any episode was bad because I think we've said pretty much all of them were the best ones that we've seen. They're all, I mean, really, this season is so much more fun than season 2, and season 2 was a blast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody make sure, like I said, you're going out and you're checking out Terribly Awful. It's on YouTube. The links are in the description. Go follow, go subscribe, and check these shows out. They're fantastic. Every Wednesday at 7 a.m. on, as was stated, is on YouTube, is on Facebook, and is on Instagram TV, IGTV as they call it. So thank you again to my guests. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on your show. It's truly amazing. And until next time, I am Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob. You can find us at the Scene Snob on social media. And this has been the Showcase. Good night, everybody. All right.